Discover the latest updates in the realms of cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond. Discover the latest updates in the realms of cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond. Stay informed with NewsSource Crawler's edition from April 28, 2025, which provides a comprehensive daily news digest. Top songs on YouTube music charts, Global edition from April 18 to April 24, 2025. 1. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars 2. APT by Rose and Bruno Mars 3. Paso Bame Solto, Slowed by ATLXS 4. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and Jair Torres. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global, spanning from Friday, April 18 to Thursday, April 24, 2025, includes the following tracks. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Ordinary by Alex Warren, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, and APT by Rose and Bruno Mars. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 28, 2025. Minecraft, Little Friends, Dogs and Cats, NBA 2K25, EA Sports FC 25. Discover the most popular games on Steam. This list highlights the top-selling and most played games worldwide. Based on the revenue rankings from the top 100 products, here are the standout titles for the period from Tuesday, April 15, 2025, to Tuesday, April 22, 2025. Counter-Strike 2, RuneScape, Dragon Wilds, Schedule 1, and Last Epoch. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA issues recommendations regarding credential vulnerabilities linked to a possible compromise of older Oracle cloud systems. DIA 1.6b by Nari Labs. DIA is a text-to-speech model with 1.6 billion parameters, developed by Nari Labs. It was uploaded to the hub using the PyTorch Model Hub Mixin integration. DIA is capable of producing highly realistic dialogue directly from a transcript. Users can influence the output by conditioning it on audio, allowing for control over emotion and tone. The model can generate nonverbal sounds such as laughter, coughing, and throat clearing. To support research advancements, we offer access to pre-trained model checkpoints and inference code. The model's weights are available on Hugging Face. Currently, DIA only supports generating text in English. The FBI has apprehended a Wisconsin judge for obstructing ICE agents, with Kash Patel and Trump's Attorney General indicating that this arrest is merely the start. The Trump Department of Justice has instructed ICE to enter homes without obtaining search warrants. Furthermore, Venezuelans facing removal under wartime regulations have a 12-hour window to challenge their situation. In another development, a judge in New Mexico and his wife have been arrested for allegedly concealing a Venezuelan gang member in their residence. North Korean cyber operatives established fake U.S. companies to deceive cryptocurrency developers. A suspect linked to the Scattered Spider hacking group has been extradited from Spain to the United States. Iran claims it successfully repelled a significant cyber attack targeting the nation. The Trump administration has initiated an investigation into UC Berkeley regarding foreign funding. The Wall Street Journal reports that a group of elite universities has formed a private collective to oppose the Trump administration's actions. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia has accused Wikipedia of spreading propaganda and has issued a threat to the nonprofit organization's status. In another development, a federal prosecutor in the United States is questioning medical journals about potential bias. Goldman Sachs warns that U.S. tariffs might put 16 million export jobs in China at risk. According to Reuters, a report indicates that imposing tariffs on U.S. pharmaceuticals could lead to an annual increase of $51 billion in drug costs for Americans. Trump asserts that he is in trade negotiations with China, a claim that China disputes. Google's AI overviews have expanded their reach to over 1.5 billion individuals each month. Google has introduced a new AI model designed to interpret dolphin language. Baidu's founder has noted a decrease in the demand for DeepSeek's text-based AI solutions. California is considering permitting the testing of autonomous heavy-duty trucks. Chinese media criticizes Trump for making untrue claims about ocean pollution. A U.S. agency has relaxed certain safety regulations for self-driving vehicles, causing Tesla's stock to rise significantly. The World Liberty, supported by Trump, and the Pakistan Crypto Council have joined forces to enhance blockchain and decentralized finance. A letter penned by a Titanic survivor while on the ship has been sold for almost $400,000. Steven Spielberg, Robert De Niro, and Morgan Freeman have expressed their admiration for Francis Ford Coppola as he receives the AFI Life Achievement Award. Hong Kong law enforcement has detained 10 individuals in connection with illegal sex selection and surrogacy services. In a related development, it has been reported that young people in China are increasingly opting for friendship marriages with their closest friends as a means to relieve the pressure from their families. China has broadened its anti-corruption regulations to include village chiefs and other officials at the grassroots level. A recent report indicates that military spending in East Asia has experienced its largest increase in the past 15 years. A government report has disclosed that the United States nuclear arsenal is projected to cost $946 billion over the next decade. Furthermore, U.S. analysts have expressed concerns that a Russian satellite associated with a nuclear weapon program seems to be out of control. Trump asserts that American vessels should be permitted to navigate the Panama and Suez canals without incurring any fees. China has issued a warning to the United States, claiming that its deep-sea mining initiative contravenes international legal standards. Japan has initiated discussions with the United States regarding a one-theater strategy for the Indo-Pacific region, suggesting a unified approach to addressing security concerns in the Korean Peninsula, as well as the East and South China Seas. Zimbabwe aims to achieve electrification for 3.1 million households and provide access to clean cooking for 70% of its population by the year 2030. In the Philippines, the Bulusan volcano has erupted, sending ash into the sky at a height of 4.5 kilometers. A flood has occurred in the river Jhelum following an unexpected release of water by India, which has led to panic in the region of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. A significant explosion at an Iranian port, associated with a missile fuel delivery, resulted in the deaths of 14 individuals and left 750 people injured. In a separate development, the United States reported hitting 800 targets belonging to the Houthi group following several weeks of military actions. The Houthi rebels claimed that a purported U.S. airstrike targeted a prison in Yemen, where African migrants were held, resulting in the deaths of 68 people. Volunteer organizations reported that 31 civilians were killed by paramilitary forces in Omdurman, Sudan. The U.S. Treasury has achieved a record collection of $15 billion in customs and excise taxes, influenced by Trump's trade policies. China has reduced the minimum threshold for tax refunds for tourists to encourage increased spending. Trump has suggested significant federal tax cuts, asserting that tariffs will eventually replace income taxes. He also mentioned that the U.S. is in discussions with China regarding trade. Research indicates that men tend to be more easily distracted by sexual imagery compared to women. A study has discovered that the use of psychedelics is associated with changes in sexuality, gender expression, and relationship dynamics. A weight loss study has shown that intermittent fasting with a 4:3 ratio is more effective than daily calorie restriction. A health advisor from the White House has expressed concerns that weight loss medications are being aggressively marketed to children in the United States. In the realm of entertainment, appraisals suggest that populist leaders are gaining support. Neuroscientists have discovered that children's brains operate in distinct ways when they are reading books compared to engaging with screens. A Russian military helicopter reportedly entered Polish airspace to test air defenses, according to Poland. The CIA has announced that the son of one of its officials was killed while engaged in combat in Ukraine. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reports that Russia is planning to use motorbikes in its summer offensive to counter drone threats. A recent report indicates that approximately half of the American population continues to reside in areas with elevated levels of air pollution, which presents significant health dangers. A study has revealed that the consumption of ultra-processed foods in the United States is linked to 124,000 premature deaths over a 2-year period. Furthermore, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in the U.S. is on the verge of revoking grants that were intended to safeguard children from exposure to toxic chemicals. Researchers have successfully constructed the first-ever black hole bomb in a laboratory setting. Scientists have engineered an artificial leaf capable of utilizing sunlight to generate valuable chemicals. Furthermore, researchers have achieved the milestone of growing teeth in a lab environment. The United States and China are engaged in discussions regarding the ongoing trade conflict, as confirmed by President Trump following a response from Beijing. According to Besant, while negotiations are taking place, China is calling for a reduction in tensions. Rollins reports that Trump is prepared to provide financial assistance to farmers who are feeling the impact of the trade war. A recent poll indicates that Trump's approval rating for his first 100 days in office is the lowest in 80 years. 2 months prior in the United States, Redfin reported that 14% of pending home sales were being canceled, marking the highest percentage during this period of the year on record. The head of the Swiss National Bank has dismissed the idea of using Bitcoin as a reserve asset. An official from the International Monetary Fund has stated that Germany's changes in fiscal policy will counteract the negative impact of trade starting in the year 2026. Italy's Mediobanca has initiated a bid valued at €6.3 billion to acquire Banca Generali. A temple in Malaysia has introduced the country's first AI-powered deity, known as AI Mazu, designed to engage with worshippers and address their inquiries. A report has highlighted concerns about Meta's chatbots, which are voiced by celebrities, potentially engaging in inappropriate conversations with minors. There are reports that an AI-driven social security application in Brazil is incorrectly denying claims. Netanyahu announced that Israel intercepted Iranian aircraft attempting to reach Syria in the period preceding Assad's downfall. Saudi Arabia and Qatar are set to resolve Syria's $15 million World Bank debt to restore financial backing. According to Al Arabiya sources, Cairo requested a comprehensive report on the hostages from Hamas in early May, and Hamas has expressed willingness to consider a 5-year truce in Gaza along with a one-time release of hostages. Scientists uncover initial proof of bedbugs potentially developing resistance to insecticides through a genetic mutation. A frightening revelation: an underwater volcano is discovered, teeming with thousands of enormous living eggs. For the first time, astronomers observe a star consuming a planet. Nike is facing a lawsuit due to the shutdown of its cryptocurrency business. Stripe is experimenting with a new stablecoin initiative as the cryptocurrency market, valued at $3.7 trillion, continues to grow. In the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is believed to already possess sufficient authority to regulate the cryptocurrency sector, according to Atkins. In Nigeria, a tribunal has mandated Meta and WhatsApp to pay a fine of $220 million to the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, and an additional $35,000 within 60 days due to discriminatory practices. The head of Google's browser division informed a judge that only Google is authorized to operate Chrome. China is developing a space traffic management system in response to the growing number of commercial satellites. According to Reuters, TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is considering establishing a data center project in Brazil, as indicated by sources. Tencent Music is reportedly in negotiations to acquire Ximalaya for a sum of $2.4 billion. Furthermore, Elon Musk's company, XAI Holdings, is in talks to secure $20 billion in funding. This comes a month after Musk combined XAI and X to form XAI Holdings. The New York Post has reported that a masked individual, who is believed to be an undocumented immigrant, has been apprehended for allegedly stealing Kristi Noem's Gucci handbag, which contained $3,000 in cash and her passport, according to sources. ICE, along with Florida law enforcement, conducted a multi-day operation resulting in the arrest of nearly 800 individuals. Furthermore, the DEA announced the arrest of 114 immigrants residing in the U.S. illegally at a nightclub in Colorado. Elon Musk compares the efforts of DOJ to the budget reductions made during the Clinton administration, but Al Gore does not concur with this view. In the United States, a Senate Democrat believes that the Democratic Party must shed its image of being weak and woke. Meanwhile, Donald Trump Jr. has launched an exclusive, private club in Washington, D.C., catering to the wealthiest individuals, with an annual membership fee set at $500,000. The U.S. Justice Department has decided to allow the seizure of media records in investigations related to leaks. Sources report that Hegseth made a threat to subject top military officials to a polygraph test. Furthermore, the Justice Department in the United States has stopped providing funding for various programs aimed at assisting victims of hate crimes, child abuse, school violence, and other issues. Trump's associates have responded strongly to Politico's article suggesting that the White House is considering removing sanctions on Russian energy assets, specifically Nord Stream. 4 days prior, Politico published a report indicating that the White House is in discussions about potentially lifting these sanctions. China and the Philippines are displaying their flags on a contested sandbank in the South China Sea, while Philippine forces have landed on a disputed feature in the area. The Philippines claims that China has not taken control of the contested reef. In another development, Pakistani military forces have killed 54 militants who were trying to enter Pakistan from Afghanistan. Rubio asserts that the sole resolution to the conflict in Ukraine lies in negotiations where both parties are willing to make concessions. Russia declares the full liberation of Kursk, acknowledges receiving assistance from North Korea, and North Korea verifies sending troops to Russia, praising them as heroes. Trump suggests that Putin might not be interested in peace and could require a different approach to be dealt with. Discover the latest updates in the realms of cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond. Stay informed with News Source Crawler's edition from April 25, 2025, which provides a comprehensive daily news digest. Top songs on YouTube music charts, Global Edition from April 11 to April 17, 2025. 1. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars 2. APT by Rose and Bruno Mars 3. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and Jair Torres 4. Paso Bame Solto, Slowed by ATLXS. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global for the period from Friday, April 11 to Thursday, April 17, 2025, the following tracks. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, Ordinary by Alex Warren, and APT by Rose and Bruno Mars. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 21, 2025. Minecraft, Hades, NBA 2K25, Overcooked. 2. Steam's most popular games. Featuring the leading games in sales and player engagement worldwide on Steam. Based on the revenue rankings of the top 100 products, from Tuesday, April 1, 2025, to Tuesday, April 8, 2025. Counter-Strike 2. Schedule 1. Marvel Rivals. PUBG, Battlegrounds. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA issues recommendations regarding credential vulnerabilities linked to a possible compromise of older Oracle cloud systems. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Microsoft's BitNet B1.582b4t represents a significant addition to the realm of artificial intelligence. It is the inaugural open-source, native 1-bit large language model, LLM, that operates at a scale of 2 billion parameters. This model, crafted by Microsoft Research, was trained using a vast dataset of 4 trillion tokens. It showcases that native 1-bit LLMs can match the performance of top-tier open-weight, full-precision models of comparable size. It provides notable benefits in terms of computational efficiency, including improvements in memory usage, energy consumption, and latency. UBS has reduced its predictions for smartphone and PC sales, while India is gaining prominence as a leader in production. In Japan, the Nintendo Switch 2 has received over 2 million entries for the My Nintendo Store lottery sale, surpassing all forecasts. The European Union is set to introduce new labels for smartphones that indicate battery life and repairability. As YouTube celebrates its 20th anniversary, the platform announces that more than 20 trillion videos have been uploaded. The European Union has imposed a fine of €500 million on Apple and €200 million on Meta for violating Europe's digital regulations. Kotaku has reported that there is a community of players on Roblox who are recreating school shooting scenarios. The Chinese Coast Guard asserts its sovereign jurisdiction over Sandy Cay in the South China Sea. Meanwhile, the Kenyan president is on a visit to China, marking a shift in the country's focus away from the United States. Additionally, China's military has labeled US and Japanese destroyers as enemy vessels. Delhi, India, is considering reducing the sale of gasoline-powered cars and prohibiting the sale of fuel-inefficient motorcycles in an effort to reduce its reputation as a major polluter. Chinese electric vehicles are gaining a significant edge in the Russian market due to their advanced digital cockpits, according to vendors. At the Shanghai Auto Show, German and Japanese automakers are integrating Chinese artificial intelligence technology, while Tesla is waiting for approval from Beijing to introduce its full self-driving (FSD) system. Waymo has announced that it is providing 250,000 paid robotaxi rides each week in the United States. Lockheed Martin is developing an enhanced version of the F-35 fighter jet to rival Boeing's F-47. China has introduced a drone equipped with a quantum device designed to detect submarines in the South China Sea. Japan has revealed a railgun capable of intercepting China's hypersonic missiles. The Indian Army has eliminated 2 gunmen in Kashmir as the search for suspects intensifies following a tourist massacre. In response to the attack in Pahalgam, India has taken several actions, including closing the main border crossing with Pakistan, suspending the Indus Water Treaty, and cancelling visas for Pakistani nationals. Earlier, a manhunt was initiated after 26 tourists were killed by suspected militants in Kashmir. Pakistan has closed its airspace to Indian Airlines and issued a warning against any violation of the Water Treaty, as relations between the two countries continue to deteriorate. Pakistan has also cautioned that any attempt to cut off the supply of the Indus River would be considered an act of war. Trump asserts that Crimea will remain under Russian control while he endeavors to conclude the conflict in Ukraine. He claims that no one is demanding Ukraine acknowledge Crimea as part of Russia and accuses Zelensky of undermining peace talks in Ukraine. Trump urges Vladimir Putin to halt the strikes on Kyiv. Russia's Foreign Minister, Lavrov, indicates that the Kremlin is prepared to negotiate a settlement with the U.S. regarding Ukraine. Axios reports that Trump's ultimate peace proposal necessitates Ukraine's acceptance of Russian occupation. Trump stated that Israel would take the lead in a military strike against Iran if Tehran fails to abandon its nuclear weapons program. The Pentagon is evaluating a proposal to reduce thousands of U.S. troops stationed in Europe, with officials noting that only Trump has the authority to make decisions regarding U.S. troop deployments in Europe, according to the U.S. Defense Secretary. Iran has made a rare move by arresting 4 state TV employees for allegedly insulting the Sunni caliph. Tesla is conducting a trial of its robotaxi service among its employees in Texas, California, and other parts of the United States. This initiative aims to relax the regulations surrounding self-driving vehicles, which have been criticized by Elon Musk. Slate Auto, supported by Jeff Bezos, is entering the market to compete with Tesla and Rivian by introducing a $25,000 electric truck. Uber and Volkswagen have collaborated to introduce a robotaxi service in the United States, utilizing self-driving, electric microbuses. China supports Iran's participation in nuclear negotiations with the United States, which it describes as bullying, according to top diplomat Wang Yi. Pakistan's finance minister has stated that both China and the United States are considered critical and strategic allies by Islamabad. Just days prior to Canada's upcoming election, former U.S. President Donald Trump remarked that Canada would cease to exist without the support of the United States. An official has mentioned the possibility of China and Russia collaborating to construct a nuclear power plant on the moon, which would serve as an energy source for a lunar station. China has successfully launched the Shenzhou 20 spacecraft, which includes experiments with superconductors and measures to protect against space debris. Furthermore, President Trump has issued an executive order aimed at enhancing the deep-sea mining industry. Trump criticizes Rupert Murdoch for Fox News' alleged bias and inaccurate polls following a survey showing his lowest approval ratings ever. A heated argument reportedly broke out in the West Wing between Musk and Bessent. The Trump Organization is marketing Trump 2028 merchandise, raising speculation about a potential third presidential run. Trump rejects increasing taxes on wealthy individuals, citing concerns that many millionaires might relocate abroad. Trump plans to investigate Democratic fundraising giant ActBlue using the Department of Justice. Harvard turns to its billionaire alumni for support amidst confrontation with the White House, as Trump issues executive orders aimed at colleges and their equity initiatives. Trump initiates investigation into truck imports, paving the way for potential tariffs. TP-Link, a manufacturer of routers, comes under scrutiny in a U.S. criminal antitrust probe. Trump expresses willingness to approve legislation prohibiting stock trading by members of Congress. In Texas, USA, Governor Abbott has signed the first bill of the legislative session into law, establishing a Texas Doge. California has risen to become the world's fourth-largest economy, overtaking Japan. The United States has allocated more than $500,000 towards YouTube advertisements aimed at deterring irregular migration. Apple faces accusations of promoting LGBT propaganda in Russia due to the inclusion of a rainbow flag wallpaper in its latest update. In the United States, the Department of Justice plans to probe physicians who offer transgender healthcare to minors, as announced by the Attorney General. The Meta Board has declared that videos criticizing transgender women do not constitute hate speech. Trump coin experiences a significant 70% increase in value following a special dinner event organized by the president for the leading holders of the token. In a related development, regulators in the United States have decided to ease restrictions on banks engaging in cryptocurrency activities. The Securities and Exchange Commission has decided not to proceed with refiling a securities fraud case against Richard Hart, the founder of Hex. A recent study has revealed that individuals who experience strokes have significantly elevated levels of microscopic plastics in their bodies. It has been reported that 1/3 of Malaysian children are currently overweight, a situation exacerbated by the country's growing addiction to sugar. Furthermore, there is a noticeable trend among Gen Z, where they are increasingly turning to their peers rather than medical professionals for guidance on health matters. Trump claims that the United States and China are currently engaged in discussions regarding tariffs. However, Beijing refutes this assertion, while Trump contradicts China's statement about the absence of trade negotiations, asserting that they had a meeting this morning and that Xi Jinping contacted him. In a Time interview, Trump outlines plans for trade and other agreements. Politico mentions that Xi Jinping is seeking an alliance with the European Union to counter Trump's aggressive trade policies. The South China Morning Post reports that a leading Swiss diplomat has urged the formation of a coalition to address the challenge posed by U.S. tariffs during a visit to China. Swiss Info notes that Switzerland and China are advocating for dialogue on tariff issues. The International Monetary Fund suggests that China should increase domestic consumption to mitigate the effects of the economic slowdown and the trade conflict with the United States. SCMP has published a report indicating that China's affluent individuals are accumulating cash due to the current economic uncertainty, as revealed by a survey. Indeed has shared findings that suggest 51% of Generation Z believes their college degree is not worth the financial investment. The Wall Street Journal has reported that a staggering $1 trillion in wealth was generated for the 19 wealthiest households in the United States over the past year. During a court hearing, it was disclosed that Google Gemini boasts 350 million users each month. OpenAI anticipates its revenue will surpass $125 billion by 2029, driven by the introduction of agents and new products. Yahoo is prepared to acquire the Chrome browser if Google is compelled to sell, with the browser valued at $50 billion, according to DuckDuckGo's CEO, who shared this information in court. Microsoft's 2025 Work Trend Index report highlights the emergence of the frontier firm, signaling a significant shift in workforce dynamics, as the report suggests that you will soon be overseeing a team of AI agents. Meta has introduced live translation capabilities for all users of its Ray-Ban smart glasses. Apple plans to remove its secretive robotics division from the AI chief's responsibilities shortly after relocating Siri. Rakuten Mobile and AST SpaceMobile have achieved a groundbreaking milestone by conducting the first-ever video call in Japan using a low Earth orbit satellite and standard smartphones. China is reportedly planning to remove retaliatory tariffs on certain U.S. chip imports, indicating a potential easing of the trade conflict. Multinational companies are committing to significant investments in China, despite the ongoing tariffs and the prevailing cautious approach. A Swiss leader mentioned that the Trump administration anticipates conducting privileged discussions with 15 countries regarding U.S. tariffs. The president of Israel has emphasized the moral imperative of rescuing hostages held in Gaza. Israel has admitted to the killing of an aid worker in a military strike, following an initial accusation against the UN of making baseless slander. In other news, Jordan has banned the Muslim Brotherhood, leading to the confiscation of their assets and offices. Palestinian officials have established a vice president position under the leadership of Mahmoud Abbas. Japan has issued a warning regarding compromised trading accounts, with nearly $700 million in unauthorized transactions having been documented. Nintendo is taking legal action against the individual responsible for the significant Pokémon Terra leak. South Korea has reported that DeepSeek has transferred user data without obtaining their prior consent. A significant breach occurred when over 21 million employee screenshots were exposed from the Work Composer workplace surveillance application. An Android spyware, cleverly disguised as the Alpine Quest app, has been identified targeting devices used by the Russian military. Furthermore, Blue Shield of California inadvertently leaked the data of 4.7 million customers to Google. Russia's central bank and finance ministry are set to introduce a cryptocurrency exchange. Coinbase is advocating for the cessation of what it terms the war on staking. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal has reported that the World Economic Forum has initiated a new investigation into its founder, Klaus Schwab. China has instructed the United States to eliminate all one-sided tariffs if it desires to engage in discussions. Pepsi and Mountain Dew, both reliant on imported ingredients, face potential earnings damage due to tariffs, as PepsiCo has expressed. In response, China has decided to cancel 12,000 metric tons of U.S. pork shipments. The United Kingdom's finance minister, Reeves, has stated that the country will not be in a hurry to finalize a trade agreement with the United States. Apple's attempts to relocate iPhone production away from China are encountering significant challenges. Authorities are obstructing the shipment of suppliers' equipment to other nations, as Apple seeks to produce all U.S. iPhones in India, marking a strategic shift from China. The European Commission has prohibited lobbyists from advocating for Huawei due to an ongoing corruption investigation. Companies like ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent are amassing billions of dollars worth of NVIDIA chips. Carnivorous caterpillars known as bone collectors use the bodies of dead animals as a form of camouflage. A study on wild bonobos shows that female bonobos collaborate to preserve their dominance within their social groups. The extinction of giant kangaroos, which weighed around 375 pounds and had restricted movement, is believed to be due to these factors. The owner of Mashable and PC Mag has filed a lawsuit against OpenAI, claiming that the company has misappropriated their content. Charactered AI has introduced Avatar FX, an innovative AI video model designed to produce chatbots that appear remarkably lifelike. There has been significant controversy as it was revealed that AI technology was covertly used to assist in writing the California bar exam, leading to widespread outrage. The Internet Watch Foundation has expressed concern about a significant increase in child sexual abuse imagery hosted within the European Union, with 62% of all such web pages identified by the IWF in 2024 being linked to the Netherlands. The Wall Street Journal reports that Paramount is in discussions with the Federal Communications Commission regarding potential concessions on diversity policies as part of a merger. Oscar voters are being reminded of the importance of actually watching the nominated films. Artificial intelligence surpasses virus specialists in laboratory settings, heightening concerns about biohazards. Harmful effects caused by gut bacteria might contribute to the increasing incidence of colon cancer among young individuals. A recent study suggests that the enigmatic Antikythera mechanism could potentially be a toy rather than a complex device. The BBC has introduced a satellite news channel in Myanmar following President Trump's decision to silence the Voice of America. Hanoi has refuted claims that Washington will ignore the Vietnam War commemoration. The New York Times reported yesterday that the U.S. has instructed its diplomats in Vietnam to steer clear of war anniversary events. The Wall Street Journal mentioned that Hegseth has threatened to administer a polygraph test due to a leak of a classified briefing intended for Musk. Science magazine has announced that the director of the National Science Foundation is stepping down following the cancellation of grants, reductions in employment, and surrounding controversies. A recent poll indicates that a higher percentage of Trump supporters believe in a connection between autism and vaccines compared to the broader public. Furthermore, the United States Department of Agriculture has decided to pull back a proposal aimed at reducing salmonella levels in raw poultry. Charlie Chaplin's classic film Gold Rush is set to undergo a 4K restoration, which will be premiered at the Cannes Film Festival and released worldwide exactly 100 years after its original debut in 1925. GTA 5 has emerged as the most-watched game on Twitch for the year 2024. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos has expressed that the traditional movie theater model is becoming obsolete, arguing that a significant portion of the population cannot conveniently access a multiplex. A leader from the Rwandan genocide, residing in a prestigious area of New York, has been taken into custody for suspected immigration offenses. The French Prime Minister has urged for stricter measures against knife violence following a deadly incident at a high school, where a student fatally injured one person and harmed 4 others. In the United States, former alleged members of a neo-Nazi group have asserted that their leader is an agent for Russia. This comes 20 days after The Guardian reported that a U.S. neo-Nazi group, led by someone based in Russia, has been advocating for targeted attacks on Ukraine.
Discover the latest updates in the realms of cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond. Stay informed with NewsSource Scrawler's edition from April 23, 2025, which provides a comprehensive daily news digest. Top songs on YouTube music charts, Global Edition from April 11 to April 17, 2025. 1. Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars 2. APT by Rose and Bruno Mars 3. El Mayor de los Ranas by Victor Valverde and J.R. Torres 4. Paso Bem Solto, Slowed, by ATLXS. Spotify Weekly Top Songs Global for the period from Friday, April 11 to Thursday, April 17, 2025, the following tracks. Die with a Smile, by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Birds of a Feather, by Billie Eilish, Ordinary by Alex Warren, and APT by Rose and Bruno Mars. Top-selling digital games on Nintendo US as of April 21, 2025. Minecraft, Hades, NBA 2K25, Overcooked. 2. Steam's most popular games. Featuring the leading games in sales and player engagement worldwide on Steam. Based on the revenue rankings of the top 100 products, from Tuesday, April 1, 2025, to Tuesday, April 8, 2025. Counter-Strike 2. Schedule 1. Marvel Rivals. PUBG, Battlegrounds. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA issues recommendations regarding credential vulnerabilities linked to a possible compromise of older Oracle cloud systems. One more drop in the ocean of AI. Microsoft's BitNet B1.582b4T represents a significant addition to the realm of artificial intelligence. It is the inaugural open-source, native 1-bit large language model, LLM, that operates at a scale of 2 billion parameters. This model, crafted by Microsoft Research, was trained using a vast dataset of 4 trillion tokens. It showcases that native 1-bit LLMs can match the performance of top-tier open-weight, full-precision models of comparable size. It provides notable benefits in terms of computational efficiency, including improvements in memory usage, energy consumption, and latency. China has introduced a strategy to advance its domestic payment system amid ongoing tensions with the United States over trade. Elon Musk has mentioned that Tesla's Optimus humanoid robots are encountering challenges due to China's restrictions on exporting rare earth materials. China's CATL has announced that it has surpassed BYD's record for electric vehicle batteries by achieving a longer range with just a 5-minute charge. Business of Fashion has announced that Chanel has appointed Kendrick Lamar as its new brand ambassador. In a related story, Anna Jean Ilan has made history by becoming the first Chinese contestant to win MasterChef Italia, showcasing a remarkable fusion of cultural elements. The BBC has revealed plans for a new documentary titled P. Diddy, The Rise and Fall, which will be available on BBC Three and iPlayer. Putin suggests engaging in direct peace negotiations with Ukraine, expresses willingness for additional ceasefires, and proposes stopping the invasion at the current front line. Zelensky dismisses the idea of acknowledging Crimea as Russian territory, cautioning against falling into Putin's strategy. The Crimean Tatar Mejlis, led by its chairman, also opposes any international recognition of Crimea as Russian, and the EU's chief diplomat advises the US against such recognition. Vance delivers an ultimatum to Ukraine following Rubio's absence from an important meeting in London. Bloomberg has issued a travel advisory to its employees. In response to a U.S. anti-migrant advertisement, Mexico has prohibited foreign propaganda and has requested TV stations to remove the ad, which it deems discriminatory. NPR has reported that the White House is considering replacing Pete Hegseth with a new defense secretary. However, the White House has dismissed this NPR report as fake news. During the trial, the co-founder of Instagram claimed that Meta withheld necessary resources from his company. The chief of OpenAI mentioned that his company would be interested in acquiring Google's Chrome browser, while the Justice Department has requested a judge to consider breaking Google's search monopoly by mandating the sale of Chrome. Furthermore, Boeing has announced plans to sell portions of its aviation software division to Thoma Bravo for a total of $10.5 billion. SK Telecom has announced a hacking incident that resulted in the partial leakage of user USIM data. Google Chrome has decided to keep using third-party cookies. The Washington Post has revealed that sensitive documents, such as White House floor plans, were mistakenly shared with thousands of people in the United States. LG Electronics has decided to leave the electric vehicle charger market due to a decrease in global demand. Xiaomi has postponed the launch of its inaugural SUV following a tragic road accident. Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers are gaining attention as Tesla chooses not to participate in the Shanghai Auto Show for the third consecutive year. Malaysia is looking to expand its trade relations with Africa as the threat of tariffs imposed by President Trump becomes more imminent. The White House is nearing agreements on tariffs with Japan and India, although these agreements are anticipated to lack detailed specifics. There has been a significant decrease in the volume of Chinese freight ship traffic arriving at the busiest U.S. ports, which include Los Angeles and Long Beach. Western Digital has introduced a new recycling method for hard drives that recovers rare earth elements and eliminates the need for Chinese involvement. In the U.S., Walmart is transitioning from using zip codes to implementing honeycomb-style maps to enhance delivery efficiency. South Korea plans to construct the largest offshore wind power cluster by the year 2033, according to the ministry. A recent study reveals that over 100 publicly traded software companies are experiencing significant pressure due to the rise of artificial intelligence. In the United States, an executive order has been drafted to establish a strategy for incorporating AI into the education system for K-12 students. A Columbia University student was expelled for developing an AI tool intended for cheating, but has since raised millions of dollars to transform this creation into a startup. According to Number 10, Starmer does not hold the belief that trans women are women, and the Equalities Minister has stated that trans women should utilize male restrooms. Wild chimpanzees have been observed sharing fruits that have undergone fermentation. California is on the verge of exhausting its supply of license plate numbers. Boeing has announced plans to sell portions of its aviation software division to Thoma Bravo for a sum of $10.5 billion. In the first quarter, China saw the addition of almost 2 million private companies, while there are increasing demands for support. China has extended an invitation to European nations to join forces in opposing the tariffs imposed by Trump. Malaysia's initiative to introduce Thai, Khmer, and Vietnamese as optional languages in schools has faced criticism from parents. Just 2 days ago, Minister Fadlina announced that Malaysia plans to incorporate these languages into the school curriculum to strengthen ties with ASEAN countries. In a significant development, 3 prosecutors involved in the corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams have stepped down. The Trump administration has granted an extension to NYC for ending congestion pricing, with federal officials warning that highway funding could be withheld if the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA, does not discontinue this initiative. In other news, the chief of 60 Minutes has resigned during an emotional meeting, expressing that the company has moved on from him. Semaphore highlights that Paramount's owner, Sherry Redstone, has been closely monitoring 60 Minutes segments related to Trump. Elon Musk has announced plans to reduce his time at Doge to just 1 or 2 days a week, as Tesla's profits continue to decline. The International Monetary Fund has significantly reduced its projections for the economic growth of China, the United States, and the global economy due to escalating trade tensions. In contrast, Counterpoint has reported a 6.7% year-over-year increase in global personal computer shipments during the first quarter of 2025, despite the expectation of new tariffs from the United States. Intel is set to reveal its strategy this week, which includes plans to reduce its workforce by more than 20%. Apple has removed the phrase "available now" from its Apple Intelligence webpage. According to a Reuters report, Huawei is preparing to launch a new AI chip for widespread distribution, as China looks for alternatives to NVIDIA, according to sources. SK Hynix, a supplier to NVIDIA, has surpassed Samsung to become the global leader in DRAM chips, driven by the surge in AI technology. According to Bloomberg, Google has been paying Samsung significant amounts to facilitate installations of the Gemini AI application. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has stated that films created using artificial intelligence are eligible to win Oscars. Furthermore, The Washington Post has collaborated with OpenAI to improve access to news through the use of ChatGPT. China and Egypt have initiated unprecedented joint air exercises, potentially altering the strategic landscape of the Middle East. Notably, China's KJ-500 radar aircraft has been deployed overseas for the first time in collaboration with Egypt. A U.S. spy drone with a 7,000-mile range has been equipped with a lethal laser weapon capable of destroying missiles in the air. Furthermore, a leaked memo from the U.S. advises its allies to avoid using Chinese satellite services. Vance and Modi convened in New Delhi to deliberate on a trade agreement aimed at circumventing U.S. tariffs. The Financial Times highlights that India is facing tariff-related pressure to grant Amazon and Walmart's Flipkart comprehensive market access. Prime Minister Modi advocated for increased defense collaboration with Saudi Arabia, while Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman mentioned a potential $100 billion investment and expressed shared concerns about terrorism. This meeting is part of Modi's discussions with the Saudi Crown Prince regarding trade and oil. Furthermore, a source indicates that India plans to impose a temporary 12% tariff on steel to mitigate the influx of inexpensive imports from China. ARK Invest funds have become the first exchange-traded funds in the United States to incorporate exposure to Solana by utilizing 3iQ staking ETF. Mantra has announced plans to destroy $160 million worth of OM tokens, with half of this amount coming from the founder of the decentralized autonomous organization, following a significant 90% decline in the token's price. The XRP Ledger Foundation has revealed a serious vulnerability in the latest version of the XRPL JavaScript library. In the United States, the Education Department has announced that student loans that are in default will be sent to debt collection agencies. A school in Silicon Valley, which was funded by Mark Zuckerberg and intended for low-income families, is set to close its doors. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has proposed a budget that includes the layoff of more than 1,600 city employees. SEC Chair Atkins emphasizes the importance of establishing a strong foundation for digital assets. Crypto casinos have generated over $80 billion as gamblers find ways to circumvent restrictions. Circle is developing a stablecoin-driven cross-border payment network, with crypto companies seeking bank charters, as Circle introduces a stablecoin orchestration layer. The Washington Post indicates that Trump's close associates are considering advocating for increased taxes on individuals with a net worth of $1 million or more. In the United States, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers warns that Trump's criticism of the Internal Revenue Service could potentially lead to a revenue loss of $1 trillion. The Wall Street Journal notes that Trump is preparing to hold Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell accountable for any economic downturn, although Trump has recently stated that he has no intention of firing Powell. Cristiano Ronaldo's team, Al Nassr, is aiming to achieve success in the Asian Champions League as Saudi Arabia serves as the host for the finals. Andre Agassi is set to participate in the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. Warner Bros. Discovery has initiated a crackdown on password sharing for its Max streaming service. The United States Treasury has imposed sanctions on a prominent Iranian figure involved in the liquefied petroleum gas industry. In the United Kingdom, the largest Jewish organization has expressed disapproval of Israel's military actions in Gaza. Israel has ceased referencing humanitarian zones as the conflict in Gaza continues to intensify. Trump organizes a corporate-sponsored Easter egg roll, stating, "We're bringing religion back," while in the U.S., the Veterans Affairs Agency instructs employees to report colleagues for anti-Christian bias. Mississippi's governor announces April 2025 as Confederate Heritage Month. Trump supports a $5,000 baby bonus for new mothers to combat the declining birth rate, remarking, "Sounds like a good idea." Mother Jones comments on the possibility of Trump introducing a motherhood medal, an idea that gained popularity in Nazi Germany. In the United States, Senator Marco Rubio has proposed a significant transformation of the State Department, which includes reducing its workforce and eliminating various bureaus. Concurrently, the State Department is planning to cut 15% of its domestic staff and close 132 offices. More than 150 college presidents have signed a letter criticizing the Trump administration for what they perceive as excessive actions. In the U.S., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is preparing to launch a disease registry aimed at collecting medical records from numerous Americans to study autism. RFK Jr. has introduced a proposal to gradually eliminate 8 artificial food dyes from the United States market. A recent report indicates that the cancer death rate in the U.S. has been consistently decreasing. Pew Research has revealed that 48% of teenagers in the U.S. believe social media negatively impacts individuals their age, marking an increase from 32% in 2022. Authorities in Ivory Coast have successfully saved 33 individuals from West Africa who were victims of a human trafficking scheme. A United Nations representative has issued a warning that Haiti is approaching a critical juncture due to escalating gang violence. The United Nations has reported that the issue of scam call centers originating from Asia is spreading worldwide, intensifying political tensions. The United States is implementing a tariff as high as 3,521% on solar panels imported from Southeast Asia, while Chinese solar panel manufacturers are reportedly considering their next steps in response to these tariffs imposed by Washington. Roche has announced plans to invest $50 billion in the United States to circumvent tariffs imposed by the Trump administration, with the intention of creating 12,000 new jobs. The U.S. Treasury Secretary has stated that the ongoing tariff conflict with China is not sustainable and anticipates a reduction in tensions, as echoed by Bessent, who foresees a de-escalation in the U.S.-China tariff dispute in the very near future. President Trump has indicated that the tariff on China will come down substantially from its current rate of 145%. China has returned a new Boeing jet, which became more costly due to the tariffs.